Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about whether or not Kawaki should feel guilty about the situation that Inojin finds himself in, joining as the newest member of the Donut Club and automatically being a first round ballot Hall of Famer at that, just for how he got the hole in his chest. And I also want to discuss whether or not he will even feel remorse for what happened to Inojin when he arrives on the scene, or if he even feels remorse at all, and what that means for his character. One quick reminder that 2.5-hour Boruto video is dropping this weekend, and you definitely want to get your snacks and your drinks ready, because this one is a long video that covers a lot, and it clears up a lot of the misconceptions that certain agenda pushers on social media use when it comes to Boruto, spreading misinformation, misrepresenting things like themes and scaling. This is a very brutally honest video. There's a ton there to clip out depending on what the topic is, but this video, especially the second half, is, in my opinion, going to be the most honest and in-depth Boruto video that I've done here on the channel. So I look forward to seeing you guys' response in the days and weeks after that video drops, since I know whenever I personally see videos that long, I either listen to them when I'm on road trips or I'm working out at the gym. I don't watch them all in one sitting, so I'll be curious to see you guys' response to it. So jumping right into the topic at hand, I think we have potential here with Kawaki's character to do something great, in the sense that his character has been one that has quite a few layers to it. And what we're seeing here in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex is that even though he's been getting put to sleep for half the chapter so far, where everyone seems to be taking a turn at whooping his ass, knocking him out and putting him on the ground, the one core aspect of his character from Boruto Naruto Next Generations, it still remains, which is, in spite of all the foul things that he's done, and he's done a lot of foul things, his humanity, it is still there, and there is still a bit of shame and compassion there for his character. This is important to lay out now up front before we dive deeper into the topic, because this is the one thing that drove home arguably the most for Naruto, at least after he was projecting himself, knowing that he had the same struggle Kawaki had when he was being pursued by Car, and having the Karma Seal Ninja Tech force in his body against his will. Like, Naruto had no say in being a Jinchuriki and being chased by the Akatsuki, but this was the one thing that made Naruto say, this kid, he might be trouble, he might come with baggage, but I can save him. And truth be told, he's not wrong to take that stance, even if it's something that the Hokage prior to him wouldn't have done, because Kawaki, he can truly be saved. When we get towards the end of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, particularly the last 18 chapters of the manga, I began to start noticing a shift in the community in regards to how people were perceiving Kawaki's character. And it was because once Amato and Shikamaru pointed out that Kawaki was obsessed with Naruto, when people saw Kawaki rushing off and offering himself up to Code in order to protect Naruto, that's where I started to notice a shift beginning to take place in the community, much as Kishimoto and Ikimoto intended. And Kawaki began to start losing some of the support with fans, because his actions, they're proving Shikamaru and Amato right. It was obsession of the most dangerous kind, but it also showed how he could feel remorse and guilt, because he didn't want his issues with Code to befall the village, in particular Naruto, the person who Kawaki cared about the most. It's really easy to say that all of Kawaki's actions in the Omnipotence arc, it just proves that he only cared about Naruto because he was out to kill Boruto again. Yet in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, we have been seeing signs that Kawaki does feel shame for how things turned out between himself and Boruto. He's a consequentialist at heart. As long as the results are there, the method doesn't matter as much, only the end result. But he knows that he stole Boruto's life, and he spent the last 3 years listening to everyone talk about Boruto in a crazy way, and knowing that they might not be aware of it, but they are really talking about Kawaki himself. They just don't know it. Yet we've seen him grow enough that he no longer refers to Shikamaru using explicit words like he used to, which the official English translation, my God, they clean up some of Kawaki's dialogue. The same with how He still refers to Sarada even now in derogatory terms, but he offered some backhanded respect to Shikamaru. He showed a flash of guilt by getting annoyed when Himawari called him Big Brother, and it let us as the audience know that throughout the 3 years, he'd been telling her repeatedly not to call him that. This is a really important thing to bring up in order to connect to Inojin, because the circumstances with Inojin's apparent death, where he seemingly gave his life to protect Himawari, think about how this is going to impact Kawaki when he was already visibly upset when he learned that Himawari was in danger and was rushing off to protect her. The narrative is showing us that even for as far as Kawaki has fallen during this time skip, the person who has at least broken through that hard exterior shell was Himawari. She was one of the first to do it in Boruto Naruto Next Generations, and I don't think it's a mistake either for a couple of reasons. The Boruto illustrator, Mikio Ikimoto, was heavily involved in that Himawari Academy arc, regardless as to how you feel about the arc or not. As I've said numerous times before, enjoyability does not outweigh the involvement of people involved in this series. He was involved in it, and Ikimoto was aware of how that arc showed off the growing bond and connection with Himawari. And in Boruto's manga, look at the aftermath of what he would have to deal with the last 3 years, especially when you again factor in what he said in the past. Ikimoto does keep up with the anime. So in the manga, Kawaki had just sealed away Himawari's parents, and he had told everyone that Boruto had killed them. He knows full well that her parents, they are still alive, but he also knows that she won't realize that truth until after he kills her real brother and he unseals her parents and he takes his punishment. In the meantime, he has the sight of Himawari dealing with that trauma that comes from being told that someone who you grew to trust and accept into your family at the request of your father has killed your father and your mother and is on the run currently because she doesn't know the truth. Kawaki would have had to deal with that grief of Himawari, which is enough to make even the most cold-hearted person, which Kawaki isn't, make that type of person feel remorse as a result of that repeated exposure for the last 3 years. And it's a reminder of what you've taken away from her and what you're about to take away from her when you succeed in killing her brother, on top of lying to her for the last 3 years. Looking at her face as he lies to her right in the face like he wasn't the one responsible for all the pain that she was enduring. In his eyes, Himawari is someone who has to be protected, if for no other reason than the fact that he owes it to Naruto. The same way that Itachi owed it to his parents, Fugaku and Mikoto, that he'd ensure Sasuke's safety if he was going to kill them. Kawaki is in a really tough spot in that regard because he might view Inojin as the same as I do, which is basically he's a waste of life that Ino probably should have chosen to swallow on the night that she and Sai played hide the paintbrush. Even if Kawaki holds a similar view as me, he's not going to be okay with getting there and seeing that Inojin is dead protecting Himawari. I think there stands a chance, or rather I think there should be a chance that he feels some semblance of guilt here, because in a way you could argue that all this is because of him and his obsession with Naruto and his desire to handle all the threats that were awaiting Naruto around every corner all by himself, and not doing the one thing that Naruto learned growing up, and ironically the thing that Boruto learned as Naruto's son, even if it took him until the Chunin exams in order to fully grasp it, which is the importance of teamwork and trusting in others as much as you trust into your own skill and strength. Now, the anime only viewers, you're probably hearing this right now and you're saying, wait a second, that's not right. And here's the thing, if you just jumped into Boruto's manga after the anime ended, you're probably thrown off by what I'm saying right here. So allow me to explain before I go any further. In the anime, you saw Boruto as this kid who was like, oh yeah, these are all my friends, you gotta trust in me, bro. And he was winning over the hearts of people as time was progressing. That's all cool, fine, and dandy. However, the manga starts off with the versus Momoshiki arc, and at the front of the arc, one of the things that Boruto does, which annoys the hell out of Naruto, is that he doesn't truly understand. It doesn't matter how many chakra natures he knows or how many jutsu he knows, doesn't matter how skilled he is, he has to play along with others as a part of a team. He can't solo one-shot, hot-shot things, and it took him a minute to be able to get to the point that we saw in the Owl arc where he did finally buy into being a team player. Even in the Mujina Bandits arc, he was not a team player. And not being someone who again played hero ball. People who play sports know what I mean by that. Kawaki right now, living the life of Kawaki Uzumaki, he is learning some of the same lessons that Boruto's true son, back when he was known as Boruto Uzumaki, had to learn. And it's for that reason that I believe that there's going to be some sign of remorse here from Kawaki. Allow me to explain what leads me to say that. You might be thinking, hey, Kawaki gets there and goes, oh man, Inojin's dead, and he starts cracking some skulls, and then he tells, hey, Ino, your kid, he might be dead. Here's the body. Go ahead and bury him, mourn, and do all the other stuff. But look on the bright side, baby. You're 36 years old right now. If you get onto it, you can still have another kid with Sai, and you might not run into any issues with birth with the baby. But hey, if you do, your best friend Sakura, she's the best medical doctor out there. She got you, fam. What's going on right now is Kawaki is about to be shown being put through 2 lessons Boruto did at the start of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. But in Kawaki's case, he's learning them right up front. He's being forced to grasp the concept of teamwork, something that near the end of Boruto Part 1 in the manga, he regressed in that aspect because he's likely fighting alongside Delta and Himawari in this battle with Jura. Shikadai and Chocho, they're probably going to get Inojin's dead body out of there, or they'll be used for lesson number 2 for Kawaki, which is a lesson that Boruto had to learn the hard way. Boruto, for a time, following the Momoshiki attack at the Chunin exams, he found himself blaming himself for the partial destruction of the village and the capture of his father and the near-death state of his mother. Sakura brought her back from near death. He beat himself up and he blamed himself. And Sasuke's like, hey fam, Shinobi, suck it up. We're gonna go save your father. Put on his jacket. Join the 5 Kage and me, or the 4 Kage, and we're gonna go whoop some alien ass. But if you get a tattoo on your hand, hey, suck it up, you'll get over it. I got a curse mark on my neck and it did wonders for me, son. I told Sakura to get the Uchiha symbol on the lower part of her back, and that's how Sarada was born. Boruto, jokes aside though, Boruto needed to experience nearly losing them in order to get his wake-up call. That's one of the reasons, even though I am firmly against Inojin surviving the hole in his chest, I think he's going to live and go off with that scar. That's going to be a lot of fun until it bars when he gets older. Kawaki needs to experience someone nearly dying as a result of his actions, his inactions, his attitude in order to promote the personal growth on his end. He needs to feel some remorse, but this is where I think the paths of Boruto and Kawaki, they ultimately diverge. Boruto, when he was known as Boruto Uzumaki, he took those lessons and he learned their meaning. Kawaki, as Kawaki Uzumaki, is very likely not going to grasp the message that life is trying to teach him right now, and he's going to make the mistake that Sasuke did, where if you read Naruto's story, in particular part 2, very closely, you'll notice Kishimoto put both Naruto and Sasuke at various points in similar situations, and each of them reacted in different ways, and I think that methodology is going to continue with Boruto and Kawaki moving forward to a point where I'm pretty damn certain of it, almost as certain as I am about what really happened with Yuto Okotsu in the newest Jujutsu Kaisen chapter, which you can learn all about that by clicking on my review on the left, or you can click this Naruto Explained video that YouTube has personally selected for you to watch, so you should feel special.